Welcome to the Explainer. All right, today we are diving deep into one of the most powerful chapters of the ancient text, the Bhagavad Gita. We're going to see what its timeless advice can teach us about facing life's absolute toughest dilemmas.
So, picture this. We're on a massive battlefield. The great warrior Arjuna, this legendary hero, looks across at the opposing army, and what he sees just breaks him. He sees his family, his friends, his teachers, and he's just utterly overcome with despair, refusing to fight. And this right here, this is the universal crisis that's at the very heart of Chapter 2. It's a conflict we all face at some point. That moment when what you know you have to do feels emotionally and morally just impossible. Arjuna is facing the ultimate version of this problem.
Okay, so let's really get into Arjuna's state of mind. We're talking about a celebrated hero, a warrior known for his incredible focus and strength. And he is completely paralyzed, just frozen by sorrow and confusion. So you see, this is way bigger than just avoiding a war. He's questioning the entire point of his actions. He's saying that even winning this incredible kingdom would feel totally empty, stained by loss. He's in a state of profound emotional and moral paralysis.
So just as Arjuna completely gives in to his grief, and he's totally convinced he's right to feel this way, his guide, his charioteer, Krishna, does something completely unexpected. He doesn't offer a shoulder to cry on. Instead, he delivers this sharp, almost jarring response that's designed to flip the whole conversation on its head.
Whoa! Krishna basically calls Arjuna's deep moral crisis an untimely weakness. He doesn't even engage with the emotion. Instead, he challenges its very foundation. He's reframing the whole problem, not as an emotional one, but as a fundamental misunderstanding of reality. And this is where everything starts to change.
And here it is. This is where Krishna introduces the central teaching of the entire chapter. It's this profound idea that is designed to lift Arjuna right out of his grief by completely changing how he sees life and death.
Okay, so here's the big idea, and it is a game changer. Krishna explains that we are not the body. The body is temporary. It goes through childhood, old age, and then it's gone. The real you, he says, is the soul, the Atma. And that is eternal, indestructible, and it never, ever changes.
And I love this next part, because Krishna uses this really simple but incredibly powerful analogy to explain it. He says we shouldn't grieve for the body any more than we'd grieve for a set of old, worn-out clothes. The soul just moves on, puts on a new set, and continues its journey.
So if you really grasp this, what Krishna is saying is that Arjuna's grief is based on an illusion. He's heartbroken over something that, by its very nature, is temporary and perishable, and in doing so, he's ignoring the permanent, indestructible reality that's inside everyone. Okay, but you might be thinking, this is all very high level, very philosophical, right? How does this actually help you act in the world? Well, Krishna immediately connects this big idea to a practical guide for living, a path that he calls karma yoga.
This right here is maybe the most famous, most influential verse in the entire Gita. It introduces this revolutionary idea of action without attachment. It's basically saying, look, your job is to do the work. The effort is yours. The results, that's not your department.
So what does this mean in practice? The core idea is to pour all of your energy into performing your duty, your dharma, to the very best of your ability. And then you accept whatever comes, success, failure, pleasure, pain, with a steady, balanced mind.
And this slide just lays it out so clearly, right? When you're attached to the result, you're on this roller coaster of anxiety and fear. But when you detach from the outcome and just focus on doing the action well, that's where you find freedom, peace, and this incredible sense of focus. Okay, so this all sounds amazing in theory. But what does a person who has actually integrated this wisdom look like? How do they behave in the real world? Well, Arjuna asks this exact question, which leads Krishna to describe the ideal state of being.
And this is the goal, the sthita prajna. It's someone who has achieved this stable, unwavering inner peace. They are not thrown off balance by the constant ups and downs of life. Their mind is serene even in the middle of total chaos.
And these aren't just some vague ideals. They are real, practical qualities of a masterful mind. This person isn't dependent on anything outside of themselves for their happiness. And that last one is so vivid, isn't it? They can control their impulses at will, pulling their senses away from the world's distractions, just like a tortoise pulls its limbs safely into its shell.
But Krishna also gives a really clear warning. It's like a step-by-step roadmap to ruin. He shows how an uncontrolled mind, one that's constantly fixated on things it wants, will inevitably destroy itself. It all starts with a simple thought, which snowballs into attachment, then desire. And when that desire is blocked, you get anger, which clouds your judgment and ultimately leads to ruin.
And this brings it all home with another beautiful metaphor. The person with steady wisdom is like the ocean. Countless rivers of desire might flow into them, but their fundamental state of calm and fullness is never disturbed. You see, peace doesn't come from getting what you want. It comes from no longer being controlled by what you want.
And really, that's the challenge Chapter 2 leaves us with. It's asking us to take this ancient wisdom and apply it, even in a small way, to the battles of our own modern lives. To focus on the effort, not the reward, and to find a little bit of that freedom right in the action itself. Thanks for joining this explainer.